grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I am a son of an all-powerful, perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of one day at a time recovery. And I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Please, Nikki, come off mute and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life today.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M., and I'm a grateful member of this fellowship and many, many more. I just came off a real good God dope high this weekend, Justin. We have a thing in Toronto, Ontario, where I'm from, and it's called the ORC. It's the Ontario Regional Conference for Alcoholics Anonymous and, of course, Codependence. And there's always, the Sex Anonymous room, and all the rooms are there, the C8 Cocaine Anonymous rooms. Everyone gets a room, but everyone comes to this big AA conference, and it's a weekend of just pure, for me, service. I've been here a long time, and I'm helping out in the hospitality suites. But yesterday during the countdown, from like 65 years to like the newcomer who was drunk at the mic, picking up a big book, and tears and just so much, it's miracles. Really, people don't realize, like yesterday was Sunday countdown, and I looked at my friend and said, this is the church I want to be in every Sunday, like this energy. And so I'm also reeling from, after that, people leave, and it's in a weekend of overwhelming. And one of my friends, actually, after 2 years sober, a really good sponsee and friend of mine, she picked up some alcohol, and I'm just grateful to be here because her partner said, Nikki, can you come here and watch her? And I work a very strong Al-Anon codependency program, and I had to use the word no. I'm going to record. I'm going to keep my day how it is. If you can get her up and bring her to my home, I'm more than happy to watch over her. But no, I will not clear my day. So I'm feeling pretty awesome. Happy, sad, all these emotions, and just grateful that God is using us. That's a long answer for a real quick question.
Yeah, and I love how you wrap that up, how God is using us. And I've shared this many times, but this prayer that I've been using a lot recently: empty me, fill me, use me. And as I implement that, man, God's using and abusing me, if I look at it from a worldly standpoint. But as I look at it hopefully from the perspective of what God's purposes are, man, it's so cool to be used by God. It makes for a busy life, but it's a good life. So, all right. Thank you for sharing that, Nikki. And let's jump into this. For those who may be new to Noodle It Out with Nikki, what we do here is we bring a question from our listening audience, from our Noodle chat, from our working with our own sponsees, and from our own lives to the Big Book. And Nikki takes us through page by page and noodles through the Big Book to find solutions to the things that are killing us in our lives today. And if you out there in the listening audience have a question that you'd like us to dive into, send us an email at noodlewithnikki@gmail.com. Nikki has 2 Ks in it, noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and we'll get to that. In fact, our question today is from a listener that sent in an email. This is from Vina. And Vina says, and I'm going to go through this, Nikki, she gives a little bit of a precursor to it, and then the question that we've done here. She says, Nikki, every few months, my daughter-in-law's family visits, and I end up cooking and cleaning for everyone while they go off and enjoy themselves together. When they do, I spiral into feeling unloved and undervalued. And I know the harshest voice in the room is my own, that voice of self beating me up. I suspect I'm serving more to please people than to please God, which feels a lot like codependency dressed up as selfishness. So the question is my serving an act of service, or is it codependency in spiritual clothing? And how do I tell the difference? Nikki, what does the book say?
Isn't that a great question? I love the way I know you played around and just worded it perfectly so I could comprehend what we're doing here. Because, again, we just came off the noodle meeting, and I said to somebody, less words. Sometimes you can get to the point with less words because, we want to give details and we want to give another addiction, everybody. And you can add it to your list of addictions is addicted to the story. So a lot of people are addicted to the details, addicted to the story, addicted to chaos. So if you're in our fellowship, just add that to the list of multi addictions you have. So is my serving an act of service or is it codependency? And how do you tell the difference? Well, page 18, this is how you're going to tell the difference. Page 18 in our big book. So we use the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's literally, you know, one of the best-selling books of all times, Justin, is the Bible, the real Bible, the I think King James version. But this I have found, and I know you have too, we have found so much solution and the answer to all our problems in this Bible for survival. So I'm grateful for Bill W. and his friends for writing this. So page 18, a lot of people, Justin, will go, well, this is for sponsoring. This is how to get off alcohol and drugs. This book is designed to help you living. And actually, we're looking at page 18, but I think page 15 says that it's a design for living that works in rough going. And it's rough going when you feel unloved. It's rough going when you feel undervalued. And it's very rough going when the harshest voice in the room is your own. When that energy, and I heard it on, on my other addiction, scrolling to shorts. And I was watching this short and the woman said, it's energy. God is energy. It's all a frequency, a vibration, all this beautiful stuff. And she used the word, not energy, but she said energy, INNER little g. Energy, little God, energy. Is your little God inside of you, that little voice telling you you're no good, you're unloved, right? So that's really hard. So page 15, we need this design for living. But we're going to page 18 that says here, this is when you're sponsoring, and my sponsor has a beautiful workbook, the Big Book Sponsorship Workbook, and in it, it tells you how to sponsor. And this is, people will say, Nikki, that's for sponsoring. And I'll say, well, this is how you talk to your family, to your daughter-in-law and her family, all this stuff. It says here, we are to have no attitude of holier than thou. So as long as you have no attitude of holier than thou, that's how you can tell the difference. As long as you have a sincere desire to be helpful. See, this is nothing whatever except a sincere desire to be helpful. That's how you can tell the difference between serving as an act of service or codependency. Because if you're serving wanting, let me go back here. I'm looking at the question, love, validation, right? Like this is what she's looking for. You want value, you want to feel valued, then you want something, and that's codependency. That's your codependency in spiritual clothing. Because it says a sincere desire to be helpful. My line out on page 18 says wanting nothing in return. See, there are no fees to pay. I'm doing this wanting nothing. There are no axes to grind. Boo, you do you. You guys want to go play outside while I'm here in the kitchen? And to be honest, that's the role I've been assigned. I'm the mother. They're the children. So let me cook and clean, because one day I'm going to be grandma. And I want the little ones in the kitchen. You understand? Like, this is serious stuff. And I see my cousins. It's funny, like, we used to have a lot of family. Things have changed over the years, but Justin, I come from a big family. I told you that my auntie, who I care for, 50 nieces and nephews, and she had this big farm, and we would all go up there. And it was like this new generation. They didn't get off the couch. They didn't come and, we're still in the kitchen. And I finally had to tell my daughter's generation, like, you guys need to get off the couch. So are they being shown what to do and how to do it? Go deeper, because we're on page 18. We're reading the bottom paragraph here. But if you roll your eyes up, it just says that we're armed with the facts about ourselves. Are you arming your family with the facts that this is a family and we all have a role to play? And so mom doesn't mind doing this, but daughter-in-law, you and the kids, would you clean up or would you mind helping me? because they're not mind readers. Because then what I'm hearing is it's not just codependency, it's the Al Anon five, the big M's, the five M's. Everybody write it down. Let me see if I can remember with my menopause. And that's not one of the M's, Justin, okay? It's mothering, martyring, managing, manipulating, and that leads to murder, she wrote. Murder of the soul. Not we're not talking, you're not going to go to jail. You'll be in your own prison in your head. See, and then it says here, no people to please. My line out, I'm still on page 18. My line out says people pleasing is dishonest. But I'm just like me. I just told you, Jess, I said, I can't believe this is a God shot. My friend relapsed, as I said, and her partner's over there at the place calling me. They're supposed to be on a plane to Mexico tomorrow. Like, it's a disaster. No relapse is good, but this is a big one because she was so recovered, so into service, so spearhead that this is just out of the blue. And he wants me right now. He said, can you get in an Uber, come over here, da 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 da. And I was getting ready. And then something told me I was getting resentment. I felt myself getting agitated. I felt myself going like dropping some F bombs. And I said, no, let me call someone. So I called someone who I respect. She pushed the big book on me and said, our big book says this. And I can't go to the pages right now because that's a whole nother recording. But she said, no. And I had to call him and said, no. And no is a full sentence. So then don't do the dishes. Your daughter-in-law, then let your son do it, mom. Let your son do it. Why are you on your daughter-in-law's family? How about your son's family? Have your son take responsibility for his wife and the children and all that good stuff, okay? Daughter-in-law's or my daughter-in-law's in-laws family, okay? Then tell your daughter and your son to talk to your daughter's family. Or be a gracious host and be grateful that you have a daughter-in-law. I want a son-in-law. Where's my son-in-law, God? Where's his family? Oh, they live in California. You see what I mean? It's going to be it'll be probably a cold day in hell before they come to Toronto and I can entertain for them, show them and entertain and serve nice stuff on Auntie's Crystal that I got. You see what I mean? Like, we're just so busy, poor me, driven by page 62, 100 forms of self-pity. Instead of 100 forms of glory, that I've got hands, I've got legs, I've got money to serve my daughter-in-law's family. You see, like, you're sitting here a martyr thinking, look at me, instead of arming everybody with the facts saying, I'm tired. Son, daughter, your family's coming over. I'm going to need help, son. Come in the kitchen with me while your in-laws are here. Husband, I need help. Is there extra money? Because sometimes if you have extra money, I do service and I know people, Justin, who need service. So if I have a little money and I'm having a family party, I could even pay a newcomer who's not even, hey, do you want to come and be waitress for the day? You see what I mean? There's endless resources, but everybody wants to go, pour me, and not pour me another drink, pour me another dirty diaper. Come in, Justin.
Mm. Thank you for going through the Al-Anon 5. I know I've heard those before, but I've never written them down and looked at them and analyzed them. And I think that that opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I think in this case, well, she's the mother-in-law, so she's mothering in this, maybe wearing that hat of the mother, martyring, poor me. I'm not out having fun with them and nobody's helping me, managing, trying to, right now, she's like, how do I manage this so that I can retain my sanity, and then manipulating. If I stay in this Al-Anon place, I'm going to start manipulating things rather than communicating clearly. I'm going to start manipulating things, and then the murder, the murder of the soul. Woe is me, I'm a victim, and I'm going to blow this whole thing up in my resentment. And I love that process. I want to put it up in my house and mother my family with it, by manipulating them to recognize what it is. But that's just so helpful and opens my eyes to a lot of things. What else am I missing there, or is there anything else that we can dive deeper on this one, Nikki?
No, but let's get someone out there in the community. We always need social media people. If you're techie, call me and Justin. We need you to help get the social media platform because I want one of those little posters that says those 5 M's and, like one of those things we can just circle around. But yeah, we're missing a lot because here it is, page 101. Okay. It says, at the very bottom, because this is about checking your motives constantly. So it says, the very bottom paragraph says, you will note that we made an important qualification, okay, about going out, being spiritually fit. Because listen, lady, Vina, if you're spiritually fit and you're living for God, you would be singing praises of glory. You would have been page 88, very disciplined. You would be page 86, using the brains God gave you, to page 83, stand tall as God's people and don't crawl. And then you would delegate. You would use discernment and in ahead of time. Now, if the plans change, you'd be okay with it. You wouldn't be in this situation. So I hear a lot of assuming, on if you just roll your eyes across the page 100, assuming we are spiritually fit, we can do all sorts of things that codependents, alcoholics, addicts are not supposed to do, like serve an entire community family with no resentments, no regrets, no desires of wanting or needing more. Does that resonate, Justin? Like that. So roll your eyes across to page 100 where it says, therefore, Vina, you need to start asking yourself on each occasion, have I any good social, business, or personal reason for doing this? Not just for going to this place, for doing this. Yes, because I'm in a 12-step program and I'm a walking amends because I was dead asleep in my life. I'm just going to assume I don't know much about you, Vina, but you're not calling in talking about cocaine, fentanyl, or porn. You're calling in about emotions. And it's funny because at this ORC, this Ontario Regional Conference yesterday, I said, I always say it, I will sponsor a raging alcoholic before I will sponsor a raging Al-Anon. And guess what my first program is? Al-Anon. Why? Because these people, including myself, nothing to see here. No problem. We are tornadoes, page 82, in people's lives, mothering, martyring, managing, manipulating. The actor, page 60, who wants to run the whole show, forever trying to arrange the lights, page 61. Sometimes we're kind and virtuous, sometimes we're raging lunatics, but we're on page 101 right now. So are you asking yourself, Vina, do I have a good reason for doing this? And yes, you do. You owe your we think we owe more. So you owe to serve. You're in a constant amends. So serve happily. Page 133. We are sure God wants us happy, joyous, and free. Because I'll tell you something, Vina, the woman who's relapsed, and she will listen to this and hear this. Why did she relapse? There's certain trials and low spots ahead. I can tell you she was not following a lot of the program, but she woke up on right at Christmas and her 50-year-old brother dropped dead. And I know the mother very well because I'm her sponsor. And we went through a dark period with this woman for many years during COVID when she didn't get awake. So it was amazing when she picked up her 2-year chip on the way to her 3-year. We'll have to restart that. No big deal. No big deal. Thank God she's alive. But I know this mother would do anything to serve her son and serve the daughter-in-law and the family. You're hearing me, Justin. He was 50 years old. They had just bought the Christmas tree, Justin. And the little girl's she's just 10, 4 daughters. And Vina, they would give anything to serve the daughter-in-law graciously, wanting nothing in return. So, have I good reason for going there? Or am I expecting to steal a little vicarious pleasure? What's your pleasure, Vina? It is here. I want to feel loved. I want to feel valued. because my inside voice is constantly telling me I'm no good. And so I need people around me, but that's a lie from the pit of hell. Go deep. You are a loving child of God. You do not need validation. Why are you here? Roll your book to page 102. Your job now, Vina, is to be at the place where you may be of maximum helpfulness. So what if one night they're running around having fun, enjoying your home, your dishes, your food, and your service? Thank you, God. Where is your new belief system? Go here. And then, Justin, I know you have a couple thoughts because here it is. It's page 72. We have been trying to get a new attitude. Where's your new attitude about serving these people? A new relationship with your creator, you and God. Thank God you have arms and legs, that you're not in a wheelchair, that you're capable to serve your family and to discover the obstacles in your path. And the only thing stopping you is your mind and your sick, old belief system. My brother, come in.
Yeah, this reminds me of a personal experience I had, and I've shared this in lots of places, so I'm not going to go into deep detail with this. I may have shared it in here once. Um, but about a year and a half ago, I was doing dishes for my family and feeling a lot of resentment. We had just had a family reunion, and I was there doing all the dishes before we had to leave, and I was feeling resentment. I was mothering, trying to manage everything to get out there to make sure we're out of there on time. I was martyring as I'm doing the dishes. I can't believe nobody's helping me do anything, trying to manage things, saying, hey, we got to be out of here by, 11 o'clock or whatever the time was, starting to manipulate and going to the place of murder where I was just going to blow up and start yelling at people. And all of a sudden I recognized this and I paused and I asked God to remove the resentment. And I was like, what, but I've got all of this stuff that needs to be done in this time period. And the feeling and the answer that I got was, why don't you invite me to do the dishes with you? And that was God saying, why don't you invite me to do the dishes with you? And I was like, really? You want to do dishes with me? He's like, invite me. It's like, okay, God, come do the dishes with me. And I started doing the dishes, and God's next to me, and I'm still rinsing, I'm washing, rinsing, drying, and putting away myself. But God is there, and next thing I know, I'm singing while I'm doing the dishes. I'm having a good time, and things changed because of that perspective. So, Vina, maybe invite God in to do this with you. Say, hey, God, I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling resentful. I'm feeling left out. Come join me. Let's do this together and see what happens as that happens. So, Nikki, any other thoughts as I share that experience?
Awesome. Just awesome, man. Then I can, I'm a fantasy addict, so I pictured the whole thing. And that's how quick, when we have a lot of podcasts out here, people, me and Justin, little podcast whores. And so long story short, we have another podcast where we go line by line through the big book with David G. And David G, I know he really blew our minds. It was on page 84 where you turn your thoughts to someone you can help. It doesn't say run out, leave your family and go help an addict. No, turn your thoughts. So you're on the factory line. You can't leave. The coworkers are eating your soul. You're at home. You want people to do the dishes with you. They're eating your soul. You are to turn your thoughts to someone you can help. And sometimes that someone is you, Justin. Vina, sometimes that someone is you, because remember, no one's coming to save you. Everything you need is inside of you. I had a download recently too, Justin, and it was this. I don't need to go and learn anything more. I don't need to get another program, another book. I need to start practicing what I know in this book. You see what I mean? Everyone's like, okay, I've learned the first 160. Let me learn let me go get sponsored again. Let me do this. No, I know my inventory. It doesn't change. I'm either living in the seven deadly sins or I'm living in the fruits of the spirit. That's as simple as it gets. And so you said this, page 119. I need to practice these principles, which is pause and count my blessings. So when I'm doing the dishes, serving my people, I'm running around like a chicken. When I'm getting a resentment, then I'm the only one, which isn't true. There's other cousins that go see auntie. They're just not reporting it to me, and they don't have to. And I'm like, I'm the only one. Like, no, you're not the martyr, Nikki. There's other people. And so, and so here it is. I made the decision, Vina. Justin made the decision, Vina, to be in this program. The rest of my family hasn't. So they can go play. They can go out and say, there's nothing to see here, Ma. But I don't get to do that because I make a daily decision to turn my life and my thoughts, my everything over to the care of God as I understand it. And out there listening, you're like, Nikki and Justin are saying that word, God, again. We make a daily decision to turn our thoughts and our life over to the care of humility, of politeness to others and to myself. Because if I'm here martyring myself and I'm no good, and I'm gonna hear what God's real thoughts are. I'm a child. I'm loving of God. I can do anything. I'm going to turn my thoughts to gratitude. To how can I be helpful to this family? They need me. These in-laws need me. Maybe they're just, we don't know everyone's personal stories. Maybe they can barely function and they're just like my friend. All weekend, everyone was up her saying, wow, you're amazing. And I'm there going, yeah, this is the woman who does more service than anyone on the planet. And Justin, she leaves and goes and picks up a Mickey because she wants to sleep deep. You know, where did that idea come from? You understand, alcoholic. So I want to go here too. I mean, all the fruits of the spirit, the love, the tolerance, the God, that's what I'm doing. But I want to remind everybody what we're here for. And this is radical. You're not here to get validation. You're not here to martyr or manage. You're not here to be codependent in spiritual clothing. You are here, page 29, and let's read it together. See, and I always speak for Justin, and you can just shut me down, hit mute. Each individual, me and Justin, in our personal stories, our experience, strength, and hope, our stories about the dishes, our stories about going to the conference this weekend and people falling asleep and watching them drowned. We describe in our own language, and Justin and I like to speak big book, using the big book and some experience, strength, and hope from our own point of view. POV, everybody, hashtag point of view. What's a point of view? A particular attitude, how you consider a matter. From our point of view, the way Justin and Nikki established our relationship with God. See, that's what this is about. How are we establishing our relationship with kindness, responsibility, faith, and courage? How are we establishing a relationship with patience, being active and zealous? How are we establishing a relationship with forgiveness and love and intimacy? Into you, I see me, being faithful in all areas of our life to our in-laws and their family, servant of God. How am I establishing a relationship with being generous, not only with my money and my time, but with my thought life? How am I establishing a relationship with accepting the role God has assigned to me? Page 68. I'm in the world to play the role God assigns today. Justin, I'm not assigned to play mom today. My child is 33 and my daughter, and my son is 21. They don't need a mother today. How am I establishing a relationship with honesty, integrity, all that good fruits of the spirit? So that's all I got to say about that, Forrest Gump.
Thanks, Nikki. You know, and as we wrap this up, something that was brought to my mind, Vina, and all those out there who can identify with this, the ninth step promises that we read on pages 83 and 84, the last couple lines of that paragraph really jumped out to me, and I'm going to read those. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. As I'm sitting here making food for my family as they're out partying, that used to baffle me. I'm going to put myself in your shoes, Vina, as you apply these principles. It used to baffle me. But now, all of a sudden, I'm handling them, and it's becoming a joy instead of the confusion and the noise and the victimhood. And then the last one, we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And I can find joy in doing the same things that used to bring me, oh, victim thinking, martyring thoughts and behaviors, the mothering, martyring, managing, manipulating, and murder of those situations. I can do those same things and find peace and even joy in them. Everybody, this is a this is a recipe for life that works, and it works in hard going, it works in good going, it works in life. And I'm so grateful that I have been brought to this point in my life where I get to sit down with Nikki. I get to sit down with lots of other people and share this experience, strength, and hope, and share these words of wisdom from the Big Book. Everybody, jump into this. Learn how to do things that are. Nikki, jump in real quick and remind me what the verbiage is. We're assigned a certain part in role in
Yeah,
life. What is that?
it's page 68, everybody. We are in the world to play the role God assigns. And remember, just on that little note, like you were assigned to be a daddy, but now you're a grandpa. Let's everyone pray over my daughter's womb, okay? Because I want to be a grandma too. Thank you, Justin. We're in the world to play the role God assigns just for today.
Yeah. So get in there and play that role, and allow God to lead you in playing that role, and amazing things will happen. Keep coming back, guys. This is good stuff. And work this program, work it with all you have, and give it all to God because you are worth it.